Okay, hi everyone and welcome. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join us for this webinar. As you can see, this webinar is titled Catching Fish, How to Spot Phishing Attacks in the Wild. Our presenter today is Guy Almog. He's the Threat Intelligence Team Lead at CyberHint. And we also have a panel of CyberHint employees with us today, so we can just do a really quick round of introductions. Before we begin, I'll start. My name's Daniel Pigeon, and I'm currently being impersonated by several of my colleagues. I'm product marketing at CyberHint, and I've been on the team for about 6 months. Gemma, I'll pass it over to you.
Hi, I'm Gemma Goldstein. I'm a marketing manager here at CyberHint, and I've been on the team for just about a month.
Welcome, Gemma. My name is Lee Moore. I'm part of the HR team. I've been with CyberHint for about 2 years now. You forgot your favorite fish. Mine is blowfish, just saying.
That's right. I forgot to mention my favorite fish is salmon.
And I'm going for sea bass.
I'll have to go with tuna fish. My name is Guy, aka Daniel. I've been working at CyberHint for about a year and a half, a bit more than that, and several years in the field of CTI and academic research as well. And I hope we'll all have fun. Daniel, maybe you want to explain a bit what we're gonna have, and then we'll dive in.
Sure, absolutely. So Guy is going to start the webinar off with some statistics and an overview of the phishing threat and the phishing threat landscape, as well as TTPs. And then we're going to change gears a little bit, and Guy is going to share his screen and show us some websites. They might be phishing websites, they might be legitimate websites, and we're going to do our best to identify the ones that are phishing, that are malicious websites. And the contestants, which is myself, Gemma, and Lee Moore, if we think that we see a red flag or an indication that the site is malicious, we'll yell phish and identify the red flag. If we're correct, we get 1 point. If we're wrong, -2 points. And of course, Guy will be there to reveal the correct answer and be our host as we walk through these phishing sites.
Right, and the prize, Limor from HR, you can confirm this. It's a lifetime supply of your favorite fish plus $20,000 cash reward, right?
Yes, for rods.
Okay. Cool. So I'll just, as a quick disclaimer, before we'll start, especially during the live demonstration, we'll see some potentially malicious websites. I'll be accessing them from a designated machine, right? And I encourage the viewers, if they see a website, do not try to go to it by yourself unless you are an experienced researcher. And if you do, don't do it from your own personal computer or from your corporate machine, but just from a designated testing machine for those purposes. Okay, so let's move over fast on the agenda. Daniel also mentioned it, so I won't repeat it. Let's dive right into some general phishing statistics. Okay, and this is really in broad terms. Let's see. Okay, so according to one reliable recent source, we see a high increase in the amount, in the volume of phishing attacks. For example, this specific research examined results in Q3 of 2022, right? And if we compare it to data dating back to a year prior to that, we see roughly 60% increase in the volume of phishing attacks, which is a lot, okay? A bit more data. A recent study from IBM, for example, found that during 2022, about 41% of all corporate data breaches were related in some way to phishing, right? So phishing was used in order to gain access in a lot of the breaches in the last year. Another recent research found that phishing is the #1 tactic used for social engineering attacks. 70% according to this recent. Again, it really depends on how you define social engineering, but I think the bottom line of all of these numbers is that phishing is ubiquitous, right? You can see it basically everywhere. If you're using the internet, you probably saw phishing, or you probably are seeing phishing on a regular basis, whether you know it or not, and you probably know someone who has been phished, or maybe you have been phished yourself. It's really everywhere. Now, let's talk really in a nutshell about the common TTPs, right, of phishing attacks before we dive into the actual game, just to give you maybe some tips beforehand. Okay, so when we're talking about phishing, and I'll do it from the point of view of an organization, okay? The scammers, the phishers, they have multiple possible targets. The best scenario target for an attacker is an employee, right? If I can gain access to an employee credentials to the organization via phishing attack, for example, then I can do a lot of damage and probably make a good profit. The second kind of target is the customers. This is much more common because it's also a lot more, it's a lot easier for the attackers to deceive the customers, and it's a lot easier to access publicly available login pages designated for customers. And the customers, at least from the organizational point of view, it's a lot harder to educate and protect the customers than the employees. But phishers, they're trying to attack both employees and customers. Now, there is another kind of vector of target, and that's the third parties and vendors, right? And as organizations, basically every big organization today relies and trusts many vendors, right? No organization today is an island, and you rely on various softwares, various service providers, and they can be phished as well, right? So maybe it's very hard to scam your own employees, and maybe they're like the best phishing savvy oriented employees in the world, but if you can phish someone that deals with all of their internal systems, then you also will find yourself in a potential catastrophe. Okay, so once the phisher or the scammer chose their target or their attack vector, they have various phishing lures or phishing baits to use. For example, fake accounts on social media, brand impersonation. This is mainly for customers, right? The customer will go to a fake page on Facebook, for example, and then from there, the scam will start. Or, and this is more for employees, VIP impersonation. For example, the scammer will pose as the CEO and will send the employee some kind of SMS or email or something like that. Hey, look, I really need your help. I can't talk, but please urgently send me something. This is also very common. Phishing emails, you all know them probably. If you go right now to your junk inbox, you'll see a lot of phishing emails there. Some are very bad. Most of them are not so good, but sometimes you have spear phishing emails, which are really, really, really hard to detect. So this is also a very common phishing lure. Finally, we also have malicious ads or malvertising, which is basically the threat actors. They pay money to get supposedly a legitimate ad that will lead to a malicious website. So, and by the way, this is maybe not a comprehensive list. We're talking about the most common TTPs here. So after the bait is set and the victim catches the bait, they're usually redirected into a phishing website, right? Impersonate the actual website that they know. And from there, they can either be infected with a malware on their computer or get their credentials and PII stolen. By the way, sometimes the website will install a malware, and then the malware will continuously steal data. And of course, sometimes the malware can maybe be used for ransomware or even worse stuff than that. So as you can see, it can be extremely dangerous, both for customers, employees, and basically everyone. Now, before we go to some actual examples in the wild, right? I wanted to give you like a freebie, a test, not a test, just some examples of phishing websites. This is from Argos. This is the system that Cyberint offers, and here we see an example of a phishing website detected by the system. In this case, you can see it is impersonating Amazon, and it's on a newly registered domain, and of course, it's not the real Amazon website. Now, some of the indicators, right, that systems like ours and basically a cybersecurity professional detect phishing websites is based on the logo, right? If the logo or the brand is similar, also if some parts of the code, right, the source code of the website are mentioned on a different website, and of course, different kind of URL permutations, right? So for example, you have Amazon.com, so maybe you have Amazon1.com or something like Amazon with 2 O's.com, and then the website look completely the same, but the URL is a bit different. So having said that, here's another example of a really recent phishing website, just from maybe a few hours or maybe 1 day ago, something like that. You see that the browser still didn't mark it as dangerous or suspicious. You see, okay, you have a valid right lock, which is like, okay, this website is safe, Bank of America login page, but of course, this is not a real URL and it's a phishing website. Okay, so all Daniels, do you feel prepared for the game show?
Let's start.
Ready.
Okay.
Ready to go.
So I'll stop sharing this screen and I'll set up an example, and then feel free to say Phish once you are sure that it is Phish, okay? Just a second.
And while Guy is getting this set up, I want to mention to everyone who is watching, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and we'll be sure to answer them. We will also have a short Q&A session at the end, but if any questions come up throughout, feel free to drop them in the chat.
Okay, just a second. Here we go.
Phish.
Okay, I think Gemma said it first, right, Daniel?
I couldn't hear her.
You're the host here. Guy,
Yeah, I heard Gemma. So why is this Phish?
There's a few indicators. You've got the not secure, you've got the URL being a whole load of interesting. Is there?
Wait, I didn't hear you well. So the URL, what's the problem?
It's made up with all kinds of interesting stuff. So the real UPS URL, and it also says it's not secure. It's going to
I think there are some connection issues. We hear you cut Gemma.
I will try and fix that.
I'll give you the point because it is Phish, and one of the ways to find that out is by, of course, the weird looking URL here. And if you are a customer of UPS, you know probably that the real domain is ups.com. Any other indications, Daniel or Daniel?
This looks pretty authentic to me, actually. Apart from those two things, I don't
me as
really
well.
see much.
Okay, look.
But we're
look
not
next
users.
to the URL.
Mhm.
You see it says not secured.
Oh,
And if
Gemma
you
said
press-
that.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
hear that, but just by the way, if you want to get more information, if you see something like that, it's a good advice to click on it and see, okay, and then you see why it's defined as not secured. In this case, it doesn't even have an SSL security certificate, which is very, very weird for a website like this. By the way, I'll just show you what happens if you do try to put here your PII. By the way, this kind of a scam, usually the customer will not just go here directly because basically you see we're already in the confirmed zip code, which means that someone is getting an email, fake email saying, hey, we got your package, but we have some problem. We need you to confirm something, right? Via SMS, via email, something like that. And then once you put here a zip code, doesn't matter what I put here. I can put here just some random strings. It will say, whoa, your shipment, we have some kind of problem with it. And then I'll say, oh my God, problem with my shipment. I need to schedule a redelivery. And then basically they will take all of your PII and everything that they can take. They even say this form is encrypted for your security, which is not. Okay, so we have 1 point for Gemma. Let me stop sharing for a second and I'll put another one.
So before we jump into the next one, couple questions from the chat, a request to participate in the game. So maybe we give it like a 5 count or something and allow the viewers to also try to spot some of these red flags before we jump in the panel. Does that sound good?
Sure, I'm all for it. Okay, so I'll share.
So actually, you know what? We're gonna make a little on the fly change here, because I just realized I can allow attendees to speak. I can unmute them and allow them to talk. So why don't we, so for those of you who have joined us, if you think that you've spotted an indicator, drop a message in the Q&A chat, and then I'll unmute you, and you can, if you'd like, of course you don't have to, but if you would like, you can explain to everyone what you think the indicator is that the site is malicious.
Nice. Okay. I'm up for spontaneous changes. So are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay.
I think this one might be real.
Yeah, seems legit.
You are correct. This one is real. Okay. I'll give you another one. Okay, ready? And
Ready.
Go.
Phish.
Okay. -2 points for Gemma and more. Why did you think
what's the M
Phish?
doing there? The M dot
Oh.
Facebook.
Yeah, it's a subdomain.
Mobile.
It's a subdomain. Usually a lot of websites, they use M for mobile, the mobile version, as a subdomain, mobile or M. Now, usually, if you have a subdomain on a trusted domain, usually it's okay. But there are a lot of exceptions, and it's good, by the way, to be certain. So, for example, if you're using your desktop computer to log into Facebook and you reach this page, I wouldn't recommend logging in from something that looks like this. Go to the actual login page you are used to, but in this case, it's not a Phish. So, Daniel, you have 0 points. Gemma, you have -1, and Limor -2.
Coming for you, Daniel. The other Daniels are coming.
Okay. Let's do
I
another
don't know how I
one.
feel about leading with 0 points though. That's
Okay, I want to give you something interesting. Let's see. Oh, it's already down. The problem with doing this game show is that a lot of phishing websites, they don't have a really long life, right? So some of them are already down. Just a second, but here's one that is okay.
you're giving us too much information about the next site.
Spoilers.
Or maybe I'm just confusing you.
It's true.
Just a second. Okay, maybe I'm just confusing you. Maybe I'm not. Okay. So, are you ready?
Go.
Ready.
And
Audiences.
go.
Phish.
Phish. Yeah.
Okay, Gemma, I heard you first again. Why is this Phish?
Because it says dangerous.
Okay, right. This is an easy one, right? Because it was already marked by the browser as dangerous, right? This site is deceptive. They're telling you, be careful. Also, the URL here, obviously not the real PayPal. Okay. So, Gemma, you have now 0 points also. Congratulations. And
I think I need people from the audience to go and get some points too.
sure, I'll let Daniel handle that. Just a second. Let me find something else which is nice for you. A lot of phishing websites have died while I'm doing it, so sorry for that.
Overall, a good thing.
Yeah,
These
usually
sites are being
it's good.
taken
Usually
offline.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
I'm sharing in 3, 2, 1.
Phish. Oh no, I misread the thing.
Yeah,
I thought it was misspelled, but it was. Yeah, I
So-
think I quit.
No, it's okay. You still have a chance. So it's not a Phish. It's usually microsoftonline.com, the login page, right, for Microsoft or for your Outlook or whatever. You have this long suffix with all of your personal info based on the browser you're using or your IP, etc. Right? You see here the client ID of my machine, but this is not Phish.
And one of the
But-
and another he said not Phish too. So go you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Someone in the
Gemma,
chat.
you're breaking up a bit, but I'll repeat it. So we have an anonymous attendee who correctly identified this as a legit website, not a Phish.
Okay. That's nice that you get. It's okay to get help from the audience as well, by the way. I think it should be part of the game show here. Okay,
Definitely.
let's do another one.
For this next one, Limor and Gemma, let's kick this one to the audience, and we'll give them a moment to look at it and
Sounds fun.
analyze and chime in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Are you ready?
Ready?
Here we go.
Okay, audience, this one is for you.
Yeah. Oh, Trinity written.
Okay.
Wait. Yes.
We have someone who has identified this as a fish. Trini, do you want me to unmute you? Would you like to explain why you think it's a phishing website? Oh, some people are now saying this is not a fish, so we're getting mixed reviews here.
Oh, and there's an argument going on. Yeah. I think
Trinity game.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna let Trini explain their reasoning here. Just 1 second. Okay, Trini, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Yeah, if you see the URL, I mean, it says doc.google.com, which is for sure not a OneDrive URL. So that's the main reason why it is a fish.
Okay, excellent. Guy, can you give us the big reveal?
Of course. So this is indeed a phishing website. Now, what's tricky here is that the scammers here are using a very trusted and well-known platform, right? Google.com is the real website, and it's a website all of us use probably. Now, as you know, you can create documents on Google. If you have a Gmail account or a Google account, right, you can create your own document. And by the way, you can share it. So in this case, the scammer created a document and shared it as a link, supposedly, to OneDrive for Business, which is, again, a bit weird to be connected to Google. By the way, notice the title of this login page, right? OneDrive for Business won't have such a weird title. Again, so this is, let's say, a screw-up of the Fisher. He could have done it better. But by the way, if you click this, you will go to another website, which looks like this. Okay, now you need to log into your Microsoft account. And this looks a lot, let's say, more suspicious. However, like if, as a lot of unsuspected victims, you'll see, okay, this is google.com, so I can trust Google, right? I know this domain is cool. You'll press it, and then maybe you won't see the link here. By the way, a lot of phishing works from your mobile. And from the mobile, a lot of time you don't actually see the URL, and then you can get fooled. Okay, so Daniel, are you keeping score?
I think Trini's winning.
Yeah.
Trini has
I think
2, Gemma or Daniel has 0, and I am a winner with -2.
So Limor, you might need to send a lifetime supply of fish outside of Cyberint, but okay.
Let's get cracking, guys.
Yeah.
Do we have time for a few more, Guy? Do you have a few more lined up?
Yeah. We have a lot more. I have more
excellent.
phishing website than we actually have time for, unfortunately, but that's okay. Okay.
We have a few contestants I won't call out, but a few -2s on that last one. That last one was a curveball, I think. That was a tricky one.
It's a tricky one, but it's good to see the tricky ones as well, because scammers a lot of time like the more sophisticated ones at least, they will try to get you when you're not aware or not expecting it. So it's a very good form of phishing, in my opinion, or not good, but at least effective.
Effective. Yeah.
Phishing. Yeah. Just a second, it's loading. Okay, so one, two, go.
Phish.
Phish.
Yeah, more. Nice. Only -2 points now.
No, I had only -2. I'm back to 0. Woohoo!
Really? I thought you had -4, but okay. No.
Or so I
You
hope.
get one. I think the rules were that you get
Oh,
one.
yeah, I'm only at
for,
-1 now. Yeah, you're right. Not back to 0, -1. I'll take it.
Okay.
Moving in the
Yeah,
right
I think it's
direction.
pretty clear here. By the way, notice that this website is marked as secured even by Google Chrome. Okay, and I wouldn't recommend logging into LinkedIn from such a link. But again, a lot of time you don't actually look at the URL, especially if you're from your phone, you see, okay, connection is secure, you might just log in. Okay, let's go to another one quick.
Any thoughts from the audience on this one?
Okay.
I think it's real. I'm
It's
gonna
real.
wager that
It's
it's
real.
real.
It's real. Nice. Okay. So let's do another one. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I heard something.
Yeah, Gemma said Phish, and she's right.
Why do you think it's a fish?
The URL seems off. Tesla clone.
Yeah. And also, it's always a good idea to look at the title. Sometimes they don't change the title very well. In this case, it's also say a clone. So they gave us a nice hint. Also notice that the website seems secure, right? So you cannot always trust this, or I would say, like if you see that the website is secure, it doesn't mean that it's not phishing. It's like you saw that most of the phishing websites we actually saw were not marked as dangerous, right? That's the easy scenario. A lot of time you will get to a phishing website before someone marks it as phishing website, and it's always good to double check the URL.
Yeah, we actually just got a question around that, guys. So the question is, how do hackers disguise a phishing link as secure with the relevant certificates? So how are they getting these legitimate certificates for these illegitimate websites?
I'll show it maybe with one example. But basically, what they're doing is that I'll show it with the example that we already examined in order not to ruin the fun with other phishing. Okay, so before this website was marked as dangerous, it had like secured logo on it. And this is because it has an SSL certificate. This is something that the threat actor bought, right? It's like some kind of, let's say, something everyone can buy pretty easily. But if you take a look at the certificate, right, you go and then go to the certificate details, you see that, okay, organization, not part of the certificate. And all the data that you would expect to get from PayPal is not there, right? If I'll go to paypal.com, maybe I'll show you how it looks like over at paypal.com, and then you'll understand the difference.
So essentially anyone can buy one of these
Yeah, the
SSL
SSL
certificates
certificate,
to
anyone can buy
secure
them.
if they're the domain owner, right?
Yeah, but here, like in PayPal.com, you see it was issued to PayPal Inc., right? And you get much more information on the certificate. So it's an indication. Of course, a lot of time, maybe the certificate can be very, very convincing. So if you're not sure, don't log in. You can always also check the whois record. If you're a bit more advanced, there are several services that you can just copy the URL, the domain that you're suspected maybe it's phishing, and then you can see, okay, it was created yesterday, something like that. And maybe if we'll have time in the end, I can show you how to do that. Okay, let's jump to a few more examples before we finish and go to Q&A. Let's see. Oh no, it was marked as dangerous. Okay. Yeah, a
If you
lot
think
of
it's
it was
worth taking a
reported.
look, we can
Yeah,
still look
yeah,
at some of the ones just for the sake of learning from the threat actors, tactics.
yeah. Don't worry. We have a lot more.
Excellent.
Yep. Okay. Here's a nice one. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Phish.
Nice. Danielle.
This one is, I'll tip my hat to the threat actors. I think this one's pretty good, but googledrive.co.in. So it's obviously not it's not the .com top level
Yeah.
domain.
And it
Mhm.
says dangerous, but I was looking for that. So I thought this one
Yeah.
was not at play, but fine. So we
Yeah.
have a tie between Gemma and Daniel with 1 point, and I'm still at -1.
Yeah, by the way, this website, I'm not sure if when I saw it a few hours ago, it was marked as deceptive already, but imagine getting to this website without the dangerous in it. It's
Yeah.
a lot more
Yeah.
dangerous.
Really
Okay.
looks good.
I have a few more, don't worry. We don't have shortage of phishing.
Unfortunately not.
Oh, okay. So I'll show you this one because it's already, my plan is ruined with this one, but you can learn from it. So a lot of time, you even get warnings like this. You're trying to get to the phishing website and like the browser will tell you, no, don't do it, but you can ignore and then get to the actual login page. In this case, it also looks very good, I think. Look at the title here. Looks exactly like the original. The login page looks good. The only thing that doesn't look very good is the URL. They could have maybe got a better domain. Also, the dangerous part is a bit of a giveaway, but again, the certificate is valid, but of course, you see, it was not issued to Citizens Bank. So that's a big red flag.
Guy, will you show us on that one what happens if you type in a username and a password? If you can just
Sure,
put
I
some
can do
dummy
it.
text in there.
Yeah. They want more info, of course, and then your bank account is, and after that probably they'll ask for more stuff, maybe your credit card.
My
Right.
father's middle name is also too.
Yeah, the credit card. You see, it's
Wow.
always like this. First, account and password, all of your security questions, credit card. After that, they will say either they will redirect you to the real bank, and then you'll be like, hey, it doesn't work, and you try to log in again to the real account, and you see, okay, it's working fine, but they already have all of your info, or they can redirect you to some kind of a chat with the scammer in more advanced cases, and then maybe even install on your computer some kind of remote control malware or something like that. So can be very dangerous, and people do fall victim to those kind of scam. And once the scammer has so much info on you, it's very easy to cash out. Let's do one or two more before we go to Q&A. What do you say?
Yeah, let's maybe we do one more as the panel and give one more to the audience.
Of
Sound
course.
good?
Of course. Okay, I'll try to find some more interesting ones which are still alive. Let's see. Okay. So three, two, one.
Maybe we let the audience take this one. I think this one is tricky. Any thoughts from the attendees? Okay, Alfred. I'm gonna or would you like to explain why you think this one's a phishing website? I can unmute you if you would like. Okay, Alfred, you can unmute yourself and explain why you think this one is a phishing website.
Yeah, I got suspicious with the client twice. Client and then web client.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not common to have, the same, you already indicated that it's a client, and then you're adding, web client.
Yeah, I'll just say that the web client is just the info on my machine, like because I'm using an external machine to access those phishing websites. So just ignore everything above this line, right? So just from here.
Right, and then when I look at the title, Amazon co.jp,
Mm-hmm.
it's the supposedly making you believe that it's from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the US. I expect, to get, on the US website.
Right.
With the
Right.
.com.
Okay. So you are very correct that if you are used to log in to Amazon.com and you are expected to log into the American website, if you go to this login page, again, maybe it's better not to log in from here, but use the .com. In this case, it's not a Phish, but the official Amazon Japan.
Right. It looks like, I got transferred to another, or I got rerouted.
Right. You got rerouted here. A lot of time, based on your location, systems like Amazon, they will maybe move you to your regional login page. But yeah, it's always good to be, let's say, vigilant, right? If you're not sure, go to the website and from there access the login links. So I would not redact points, but yeah.
So I get half a point?
Yeah, half a point.
You
Yeah.
you get half a point for being cautious.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
very
you.
much, Alfred.
Very good.
So that's, I think, a great call out. These top level domains. So a lot of different real corporations use different TLDs. Like Amazon is the perfect example because I know there's Amazon.de, which is the German Amazon, which is the one that I have to use if I want to order from Amazon here in Finland. And so I can see how it would be confusing. They also have .co.jp, .com, obviously, probably others around the world. So in a way that actually makes it harder to identify phishing websites when legitimate websites are using different TLDs.
Right. You are correct, but wait, do we have? Yeah, let's have maybe one more. Okay, one or two more, and we'll move to Q&As. Okay, I'll show you something else, by the way. Again, because I didn't plan it, but since it already happened. So in this case, I try to access a certain phishing website, and then the browser automatically say, hey, I bet you meant bankofamerica.com and not this URL, but you can ignore it, and then you'll get to this website instead, right? Which has, by the way, in the URL bankofamerica.com, but in this case, it's a subdomain, okay? So the real domain here is this, and this domain is not the real domain of Bank of America. Also, you get the dangerous here, but of course, if you are here a few hours before or one day before, you see like the certificate would be just secure, right? And it will be much more dangerous. But if you would examine it, you'll see, okay, not Bank of America. By the way, a lot of time phishing websites, they are just interested in your details here. So this will work. Everything else, if I'll try to press it, it's just a photo here, right? I cannot press anything besides giving them my credentials. So it depends on how lazy the scammers are. Sometimes you get a really convincing phishing website. In this case, it's half-baked, I would say. Also, the favicon here, not great, but the usage of bankofamerica.com as a subdomain, it's a good tactic. And sometimes it's even better, like secure bankofamerica.com and assume you won't have the dangerous here would be confusing. Let's have a quick last one. Okay, so maybe there is hope for a few more points. Just 1 second. Okay, let's do this one. In 1, 2, 3.
Anyone want to take this one from the audience?
Connection is secure, I'll just say that. So.
All right, we have someone who's calling Phish. I can't see your name, but an anonymous attendee, do you want to explain what you're seeing here? Oh, actually, I think, unfortunately, because this attendee is anonymous, I'm not going to be able to allow them to speak. So,
but he or she gets the point.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a Phish. Yeah, I think we're running out of time. Actually, I have a lot of other examples. It was fun, guys. So I'll be happy to do it again. By the way, Daniel, as the bookkeeper, Who won a lifetime supply of fish?
It's a tie, so one should get the fish, the other would get the
Twen-
rods, I guess.
Yeah, so
And maybe a
one
fishing hat.
$20,000 and one.
And I hope to redeem myself and at least go back to a zero, but I kept my zero, my -1.
We might have follow up or like another
Yeah,
panel
round
like
two,
this. It was
round
fun.
two.
So
A few
I think-
questions, I think, Guy, if you want, I can read these out to you. So a really good question.
Sure.
One person says, I've just checked www.google.com homepage, which is obviously the real site, not a phishing site. There is, however, no consistent org name versus certificate name or org unit name versus certificate name.
Okay. So
How about this case? Yeah.
it is correct that each domain can have a lot of different certificates, right? Each subdomain usually have different certificates. So I can have one domain with 1,000 or a few thousand subdomains, and each of them I can give them a separate SSL certificate. A lot of time you have different systems on the same domain or on the same on different subdomains. So you'll need different certificates based, especially if this is something big as Google. And by the way, always do not forget that even trusted websites and trusted vendors can be hacked and abused. And there is such a thing as a subdomain takeover. A lot of time, what phishers and scammers are doing, they're taking control of a subdomain or on a website, and then they're installing a malicious directory there. So it's like some kind of this technique is called waterfalling, right? Because as a customer, you're used to a certain website and you trust it. And once you're inside, you see, okay, google.com, for sure it's safe, but there's a lot of phishing from, by the way, there's also the possibility to create a web page using Google. Like Wix, for example, you can also create Google site and you can use it for phishing purposes and give it your own SSL certificate. So yeah, good question.
Okay, another question from the audience. Are there apps that utilize phishing rather than just websites? So I guess like lookalike applications.
Yep. There are fake applications for sure. A lot of times, what malicious application stores are doing is that they have a lot of non-malicious applications on them. But once you search for an application and click download, a lot of time what will be downloaded is some kind of a malicious program, or they have all kind of redirection suddenly going on, and then you'll find yourself downloading a malware. Actually having a malicious application it's rarer, but it can happen, and sometimes even on Google official app stores and Apple store, you can get malicious applications, fake applications. It happens, yeah. But if you're using, again, I'll just say, if you're using the official stores, the chances are pretty low. If you're using unofficial application stores, which is very not recommended, the chances that you'll get a fake application or a malicious application are much higher.
All right, thank you, Guy. And one more question we have here. Can these techniques be used in identifying phishing? The techniques that we use to identify phishing be used by scammers and redirecting victims to a phishing site? Sorry, it looks like the question is, there's two parts to it. So the first, I think, is can phishing attackers use our techniques or knowledge of our techniques to modify their attacks? And then the second part looks like about legit sites that install malware automatically, like maybe like some kind of a malicious script or something where you don't have to necessarily engage with it to be compromised.
So yes, on both questions. I'll start with the first one. Attackers are getting smarter, and more sophisticated, especially now with ChatGPT and all the AI boom. It's a lot easier to create phishing fast. And a lot of time, what gave away a lot of phishing attacks, especially phishing emails, are all kind of grammar mistakes and spelling mistakes. And now it's so much easier to create something that looks, let's say, better, right, and more convincing. And of course, sometimes you see phishing websites which are so sophisticated, and if it's a, let's say, a very specific phishing attempt on an employee, right, it can be really the domain can looks convincing, SSL certificate that looks good, and it can even block IP addresses which are not specifically what the threat actor wants you to get. Like, so for example, let's say I'm targeting you, Daniel, I can configure the website to only accept requests from your IP. So external, let's say, factors will not be able to identify this phishing website. Of course, usually it's not that sophisticated, but a lot of phishing websites do restrict IPs from different countries. Let's say I'm only targeting Italy, then I'll configure the phishing website to only accept requests from Italian IP. And then let's say if a security research from the US using American IP will try to see it, he will see nothing or she will see nothing. So they're getting very
advanced.
Yeah. Was it like, I think I answered one question out of the two? Or
Yeah,
maybe...
so I think the second one is about if you don't engage with the site, suppose that you don't enter your password or anything, you don't enter your credentials, you don't click to download.
Yeah.
Is there any way that you can still be compromised?
So yes, depending on the browser you're using and the version you're using, a lot of time, also your configurations. A lot of phishing websites and a lot of malicious websites, they will try to download automatically something like the moment you're entering the website. So it depends on your configuration of your system. I suggest for everyone to disable automatic download, for example, on all sources, right? And also make sure that every source you're getting into, like you get notifications, right, on this source wants to use your camera, for example, and then block or not. Yeah, so stuff like that. Very broadly, right? There are more specific stuff you can do, but the simple answer is yes. You can get malware by just sometime entering a website.
Okay, thank you very much, Guy.
Of course.
Any other questions from the audience? Sorry, go ahead, Guy. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I just wanted to say I had fun, and I think we covered a lot, but a lot more we didn't cover yet. So just everyone out there, be careful and vigilant, and if you're not sure, double check and triple check, and maybe even ask someone. It's better than getting phished.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Stay tuned for the next one.
Yeah. So I think we're at the top of the hour. I think we can go ahead and wrap up. But I want to say thank you to everyone who joined. We had a really great audience today. Thank you for all the participation. And of course, thank you to Limor, Gemma, and Guy for taking the time. So we're going to wrap up, but thanks again to everyone. And I hope you have a wonderful evening, afternoon, or morning, or day, depending on where you are. So thanks very much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.